morning, I'm Representative Dawn Keefer from the 92nd Legislative District. I'm at the Farm Show this morning, again this year with Secretary Russ Redding. Good morning.
It's great to see you. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you.
Great to see you.
So we're back again this year, and first thing I want to tell you is the calving quarter.
Aha.
I love it. That is such a great draw. What a unique thing to have.
We've talked about it for a couple of years. You know, there's some challenges with that, right? Because you've got to get all these cows sort of ready for this show, and do you have enough? Do you do it every day? All those kind of details. But it's been a hit all week.
Right. So
yeah.
I had my daughter and a friend here yesterday,
okay.
And we kept going back to it. Kept going
right.
back. So Liberty had her twin
yeah.
heifers yesterday
right.
morning, and then we were watching Martha anxiously in the evening, and we stayed an extra hour just to see if she would have it. So finally, I said, enough, we have to go. And but we did do the live stream, so we did get
cool.
to watch her
Good.
have her baby. She had a heifer as well, and then I signed up for the text too, so I got a text
got
this
the
morning
alerts, right?
on
yes.
my way in that Molly's water is broken, so we're gonna head over there when I'm finished with you, because I want to see if Molly's had her baby.
Yeah, it's nice. We were there this morning, and they were bottle feeding the newborns.
Okay.
And you had the birth board, as I call it, right? So you
yes.
have 11 births in the week here so far. So it's a great hit. How many folks get a chance to see a live birth?
Well, and
right?
even if you have,
yeah.
it's always
yeah.
amazing. I don't think you can see it enough that there isn't just something that's miraculous about it that
yeah.
people love to watch.
It's a great story.
I think it's a great draw, because I'm sure doing this for 102 years now, right? There's always like, what's the next, latest, greatest? And you always have technology, but what's a new draw that we could bring people in and show them?
People love animals here, right?
Right.
There's two things they really like: anything animals, right?
And food.
And food.
right.
So whatever we can do with the animals. So I'm really proud of the dairy industry, what they
right.
did this year.
That
great
is
story.
a great draw.
Yeah.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, you're a very popular man. Everybody
yeah.
really loves you. You tell the story of agriculture very well, and
yeah.
you really can engage people. So as the Secretary of Agriculture, what is the one thing you came in and said, this is what I really would like to do with agriculture, where I'd really like to leave my mark with agriculture?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one that there's a lot of things to sort of choose, right? And I say this coming back into the administration after having spent some time as a dean at Del Val, is that I think the whole workforce issue for me, just because it touches every part of agriculture, right? It's both about having farms and farmers and keeping them, transitioning, but you've got all of these people you need to attract to agriculture and the production system and food. So the workforce development for me has been sort of like the #1 priority.
And that really does tie in with our economy, because that's what I'm hearing across the board too, is that workforce development across the board. We need more people in specific trades and skills to come into, so making that connection. And that's a great, you had a great transition there from the University of Delaware over to here, that you had that same, you're seeing it from both sides.
Well, I knew it was important before, but I said, being as a dean, you hear the moms and dads are asking questions about the individual, somebody's prospectively looking at the university, obviously, but agriculture specifically. And you say, they would ask, well, where are the jobs, right? And on the other side, once they graduate, the employers would ask, who do you have that can do this or do that? And they never put it in terms of a degree. It was about skills and competencies, right? I always thought that was very interesting, because we're so programmed to think about 2-year and 4-year degrees. It's about the experiences, right? And how somebody's really prepared to step into a workforce.
And the applicability of that,
That's
right?
exactly it.
So you can teach them all day long, but can they come and apply that? How do you apply that? And how are you successful at that? How do you turn that into a career?
That's exactly what it is, right? And I always view my job as a translator, right? To listen to the parents and kids, but also to the employers, and then try to do that match. So bringing that back to the department, there hasn't been a business that I've walked into that doesn't say, I can't get the employees, I can't keep the employees, or I need technology skills, whatever. So that's really been a priority for me. So
that's great. I think that's part of our challenge too. I look at it that way, is engaging the actual education with the employers, so that the needs meet what you're training them for, what you're educating them for. So I think that's a big gap there, trying to make more of a bridge of that. And that's interesting that it aligns with agriculture as well.
Well, I mean, I think it's, it's interesting in the state. I mean, you experience this as well. That whole conversation of workforce is in part held by education, it's part by labor and industry, and it's part by the Department of Commerce, right? So we try to sort of connect across the state government. It's really been helpful, a lot of work to do, but I appreciate your support of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And on the other side of barriers that I've been trying to assist with are some of the regulations, streamlining that. What are your obstacles? And I don't think that, there's a disconnect, I believe, in Harrisburg and Washington for that matter, and the farm and the producers. We're so tunnel visioned of, this is what we're doing. We're trying to make it safe and fair and equitable without seeing the true applicability of some of those policies and regulations that are, I think, obstacles for many of the farmers and the producers and manufacturers across the board. So,
well, we heard that pretty clearly, at your ag breakfast, we had in Dillsburg, and I came away from that always sort of, sensitized to the regulation and policies that affect people. Right. So how do we do that? I mean, not that folks you don't want to regulate or shouldn't, but how do you get it done? And how do you get it done efficiently and effectively? So the folks who are doing it also feel like this is the right thing to do.
Correct. And we're trying to be good stewards. So we want to make sure the food is safe and that we're producing things for the safety of the employee. But we also got to keep in mind, how are we rolling that out? How are we implementing that? And are we looking back? Because I think that's the other thing. We'll do something and keep marching forward without looking back and saying, is this still necessary or could we streamline something?
Yeah.
So
I hear from a lot of farmers, they don't complain about the permit or the requirement, it's a process, right? And I look at that thinking that you always have to be looking at the two pieces. It's not that you're asking to do something, it's how do I get that done, right? And time is money.
And that's the biggest thing. When they're spinning their wheels, and I get this from, I have a lot of small business in my family, but when you're spinning your wheels on a permit or compliance for a piece of equipment or whatever it may be, that is time and money that you're not putting into your business, that you're not doing, that actually generates the revenue and keeps people employed. So that's what one of the areas that I have really been honing in on, that I've been
Well, you've got that background, that's been your life, right? The small business, and how do you make this system work? That's our collective challenge. Work better,
Well, I genuinely appreciate your passion in this. And agriculture is huge in my district, as you know. We both grew up in an agricultural community, and I love the farm show, bringing everybody here and getting to see the different aspects of it, from the draft horses, the pull horses, to the students. We had a great show of the FFA, and the 4-H students have been doing a wonderful job here. I think that showcases them very well as well. So I love that integration, and I love seeing the generations.
So do I.
The young, little kid, just wrestling this sheep to get this champion sheep to stand there to, we're talking people in their 80s and 90s still coming here to show and to visit.
It's our theme this year is strengthen our diversity.
Right.
And I've thought about it many times through the week, and everybody has a little bit different sort of take on what it looks like. But the age diversity is an interesting one, right? Because you see the infants and toddlers to the folks who are 80 years old, all here, all enjoying themselves.
And I think agriculture is one of those unique things, in my opinion, because it's connecting. The younger generations really are so wanting of that knowledge and that history of the older generations. It's one of those bridges. I think that's one of the unique things with agriculture.
It's a piece of history, right? But it's also an important part of the future, right? And how do we tell those stories? How do we keep people connected to us? That's the real basis of this show. Is to bring people into a conversation where they may, they appreciate food throughout the year, but they may not make that connection. But how does it happen? And
I think it's very unique to Pennsylvania. I think we do a great job of showcasing agriculture. I think there's a lot of benefits that we can't really articulate in numbers all the time with this, but I can't think of a better venue to have than this. It engages everybody from all walks of life with agriculture to make those connections.
It's right here, and I marvel that for 102 years the Commonwealth has said this is important to us. Even when we've moved over 100 years, from an agrarian society to one that 2% or so are involved in production agriculture, and we still celebrate that. It's a great story.
I appreciate it. Looking in the budget, I'm one of those number people, so I dug into the farm show. That was one of my things. So in doing that, I had to read the history and where it's come from, and it's one of those unique line items in our budget that you really have to explore to see what the value is and why this is something that's important to the Commonwealth. And So going through the numbers part of it, I was able to get there because of all that history and because of our unique circumstances here. So absolutely appreciate it. I love the show. I love what you're doing.
Appreciate your support.
And I appreciate, your passion for agriculture and the way that you've engaged so many throughout the entire state. So thank you.
Honored to do it. I say often that any day your vocation and avocation are the same, you're a lucky person.
Absolutely.
Right?
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, you do it and I do it.
Right.
So really great to see you. Happy to be here.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for being here.